I probably shouldn't be telling you this. I mean, I know how it sounds, the title alone makes it seem like some cheap fantasy or scandal. But that's not what this is. My name's Rachel. I'm 34. And for the past few months, I've been feeling like I'm disappearing. Not in a dramatic way, not in a scream for help, torch the bridges kind of way. Just, quietly. Like I'm watching my life from across the room, and no one even notices I'm not really in it anymore. Especially not my partner, Derek. Derek and I have been together for 7 years. We met in grad school, both pretending to be confident and over our exes, both reading Murakami and underlining the same passages in red. I remember how electric it felt at first, the kind of touch that made you forget what time it was. We'd lie in bed whispering secrets until 3 a.m., like our bodies were extensions of the same story. But people change. Or maybe they just settle. And when you're not paying attention, intimacy becomes routine. Safe becomes stale. And kisses, the kind that used to make me ache, turn into something almost polite. Lately, when Derek kisses me goodbye in the morning, it's with lips that barely part, like muscle memory more than want. When we cuddle on the couch, it's his arm draped over me like a backpack strap. Comfortable, yes. But not close. His hugs feel like something he's giving me because he thinks he should, like ticking off a box. I stopped reaching for him during those quiet midnight hours, because the last few times I did, he turned away, mumbling that he was tired. I didn't push. I just curled up smaller on my side of the bed and let it sink in. So when all of this happened with Lillian, my best friend Zoe's mom, I wasn't looking for anything. Not attention. Not trouble. I was just trying to help someone I've known since I was a teenager. Zoe had mentioned that her mom was cleaning out the garage alone after her dad passed last year. So I offered to help. I thought it'd be a few dusty boxes, maybe some awkward memories, and then home in time to pretend to care about whatever show Derek had queued up. But when I got there, something was different. Lillian looked tired, but not fragile. She handed me a pair of gloves and a coffee without saying much. We worked in silence for the first hour, tossing out moldy cardboard, stacking paint cans, laughing quietly at a box labeled Zmaz Porn, which turned out to be a mix of Santa figurines and an accidentally stashed DVD, a mystery for another day. There was this moment, small, but weirdly charged, when we both reached for the same wooden crate. Our hands brushed, and I looked up and saw her looking right at me. Not through me. Not past me. At me. And I don't know if it was the way the sunlight broke through the garage window and hit her silver-streaked hair, or the soft lines near her mouth when she smiled, but something cracked open inside me. She asked, so gently it almost broke me, "Do you want to kiss me?" I didn't. I didn't kiss her. But God, I wanted to. Not because I wanted her, but because I wanted to feel seen again. Desired. Not handled like a responsibility or a partner in a mortgage agreement. I think that was the moment I realized something had changed. Not just between Derek and me, but inside me. That kiss I didn't give, that impulse I didn't act on, told me more about the state of my heart than any couple's therapy ever could. It wasn't about infidelity or desire. It was about absence. About how long I'd been holding myself together in a relationship that used to feel like home, and now just felt like a house I was slowly haunting. And that scared me more than the question Lillian asked. Because the truth is, I don't know when I stopped being Rachel and started just being someone's partner. But I do know this, that moment in the garage? It didn't make me cheat. It made me wake up. Derek's a trauma nurse. Long hours, rotating shifts, too many nights on call. He's calm in a crisis, which I used to love about him, until I realized he treated our relationship like triage, respond only when something's bleeding. The night after the garage, the Lillian moment, he came home past 10. I was already in bed, still replaying that soft, stunning question in my mind. "Do you want to kiss me?" He walked in smelling like antiseptic and cold air, dropped his bag, and crawled in behind me. His hands slid around my waist automatically, like he always does. And then, without even saying hello, he pressed his lips to the back of my neck and started pulling me closer. It wasn't rough or aggressive. It was tender, familiar. But something about it felt off. Like he wasn't reaching for me, he was reaching for the version of me from 3 years ago. The one who didn't flinch at touch when her heart felt distant. The one who didn't need words to feel safe. I turned over and kissed him softly. He smiled and went to kiss me deeper, but I pulled back and whispered, "Can we just talk?" His face changed. Barely. But enough. "Talk about what?" he said, not unkindly, just tired. "I don't know," I said, and I hated how small my voice sounded. "I feel like something's missing lately." He leaned on one elbow. "You mean sex?" "No," I said too quickly. "Not just that." He waited. That made it worse. I didn't want to perform my pain for him, I wanted him to see it. "I just feel like you touch me before you talk to me," I finally said. "Like that's how you think we connect." "But I don't feel connected." He blinked like I'd just spoken a foreign language. "I'm working 12-hour shifts, Ratch. Half the time, I don't even eat. And when I get home, all I want is you." I looked at him. "But I want you when you're still you. Not just the version that crawls into bed and reaches for me." He rolled onto his back and stared at the ceiling. "I don't know what that means." And that was the moment the tears came. Silent, stupid, hot tears. Not because he was cruel. But because he was trying. And I still felt alone. We didn't fight. Not really. We just lay there, him too exhausted to argue, me too ashamed to keep talking. He reached for my hand. I let him hold it. But I didn't squeeze back. The next morning, he left early. Left a note on the counter that said, "Love you always. Sorry, I don't know how to fix it." I stared at those words for a long time. Because the thing is, he loves me. I don't doubt that. He shows it in how he folds my laundry when I forget, how he checks my tires before long drives, how he warms my coffee mug before pouring it. But when he touches me, it's like he's touching a memory, not a person. And when I speak, I don't always feel heard. I feel like noise he wants to quiet with kisses, not questions. And I'm not blaming him. Not really. It's just that we speak different love languages now. Or maybe we always did, and we only just noticed once the high wore off. And when Lillian looked at me and asked if I wanted to kiss her, it wasn't lust. It was the shock of feeling understood, if only for a second. It made me realize how long I've been starving for intimacy, not touch. Not sex. Not romance. Closeness. The kind where someone sees the crack forming in your voice and doesn't just reach for your body, they ask what's wrong first. That's what I'm missing. And I don't know how to tell Derek that sometimes his hands feel heavier than his silence. It was a Sunday morning. The kind we used to love. Coffee brewing. Sunlight streaming through the kitchen window like something out of a postcard. Derek was making pancakes, humming some half-remembered song, barefoot in his scrubs from the night before. He hadn't slept, came off a night shift and just kept going. That used to make my heart ache in the best way. The way he gave so much of himself, how he tried to keep normal life afloat even while his own eyes were half shut. I was leaning against the counter, mug in hand, pretending to scroll my phone but really just watching him. Trying to feel something. Trying to remember what it felt like to be his. He glanced over his shoulder and smiled. "You're staring." I shrugged. "You're cute when you cook." He grinned and walked past me to grab plates. As he passed, he gave me a light smack on the butt, playful, thoughtless, like he'd done 100 times before. But I flinched. It wasn't dramatic. Just a small stiffening, like someone touched me when I wasn't ready. He froze. "Sorry," he said quickly. "Was that too much?" I shook my head, tried to smile, but it didn't reach anything inside me. "No. I just wasn't expecting it. He set the plates down and came up behind me, wrapping his arms around my waist. He pressed a soft kiss just below my ear. "I miss you," he whispered. I closed my eyes. Let him hold me. Let his lips brush my neck again. My body knew the choreography: tilt my head, lean into him, smile. But inside? Nothing. It wasn't disgust. It wasn't anger. Just a dull ache. A hollow space where wanting used to be. He turned me gently to face him and kissed me. Slow. Tender. Everything it should have been. But it felt off. Not because of him. But because I couldn't stop thinking. Is this how I'm supposed to respond? What happens after this? Does he expect more now? I kissed him back, because that's what you do when someone loves you and you want to feel loved. But the kiss felt like a test I knew I was failing. He pulled away and looked at me with concern. Are we okay? I didn't know how to answer. Saying yes would be a lie. Saying no would feel like lighting a match in a dry field. So I nodded. Yeah. Just tired. He held my gaze for a second, searching for something. Then gave me a soft squeeze and went back to the stove. And I just stood there, alone in the middle of the kitchen, heart thudding for all the wrong reasons. One of those planned in advance, no phones, no work talk evenings we used to be good at. Derek made reservations at the Italian place downtown, the one with the dim lighting and old jazz records that skip on purpose, for ambience. I wore the burgundy dress he likes. The one with the open back. He told me I looked beautiful, and I tried to receive it, really feel it. But it landed like a compliment left on voicemail. Heard, but not felt. We made small talk over wine. His shifts. My freelance clients. The dog next door that kept chewing through our fence. Everything was easy on the surface, practiced. Polite. Then somewhere between the appetizer and the main course, he reached across the table, held my hand, and said, "I've been thinking we should take that weekend trip. Just us. No work. No distractions." I smiled. It was the right thing to say. But something inside me snapped anyway. "Just us," I repeated. My voice was flat. I pulled my hand back without meaning to. "So we can have more sex we don't talk about?" His brow furrowed. What? I looked down at my plate, breathing hard, blinking fast. Never mind. No, say it. What does that mean? I looked up, and the words tumbled out before I could catch them. It means I'm tired of pretending that physical touch is going to fix this. That a weekend in a cabin is going to make me feel connected to someone who barely asks how I feel. You kiss me, you touch me, you sleep next to me, but I still feel alone, Derek. He leaned back, stunned. Where is this coming from? I was already crying, voice cracking, hating how loud I was being in a room full of quiet couples and clinking glasses. You don't see me anymore, I said, wiping at my face with my cloth napkin, already soaked. You just reach for me, like that's supposed to mean something. I do see you, he said, louder than I expected. I bust my ass to show up for you. I make time. I try to be romantic. I thought this night was for us. Yeah? Well, maybe I don't even know what us is anymore. I said it quietly. And then quieter, maybe I just feel like a body you used to know. He looked away. His jaw tightened. His eyes blinked fast, like he was trying not to say something he'd regret. And then silence. Long, brutal, stinging silence. I stared at the candle between us, shaking. I thought about Lillian, her question in the garage. Do you want to kiss me? I hadn't even said yes, and it still made me feel more seen than anything Derek had done in months. The realization hit like a second slap. The waiter came over awkwardly, asking if everything was okay. Derek mumbled something. I couldn't even speak. I just sat there, mascara streaked, chest heaving, completely wrecked in the middle of a room full of strangers eating pasta. When we got home, I went straight to the bathroom. Closed the door. Sat on the floor. And that's when the shame hit. What the hell is wrong with me? He was trying. He was always trying. And I just ambushed him, humiliated both of us over chicken piccata. But then again, was I supposed to keep swallowing it? The weight of unmet needs, the slow ache of being touched but not understood. I curled into myself on the cold tile, knees pulled up to my chest. Because I didn't want to blow up. I didn't want to be the woman crying in restaurants or the partner pulling away from kisses. But I also didn't know how to keep quiet. I sat there for a long time. I don't know how long, exactly, long enough for the bathroom mirror to fog from the shower I wasn't taking, long enough for the silence outside the door to feel like a wall between us. I could hear him moving around the bedroom, opening drawers, shutting them again, like he was trying not to make noise. Always considerate. Always careful. And yet I felt more alone than I had in months. A quiet knock. Rachel? I didn't answer. I couldn't. My throat felt thick, my chest hollowed out. I'm gonna go sleep on the couch, he said softly through the door. Just, let me know if you need anything, okay? And then nothing. His footsteps padded down the hall, and I was alone again. Not just in the bathroom, but in the entire goddamn house of this relationship. I looked at myself in the mirror. Eyes red. Hair curled too carefully. Lipstick smeared and wine-stained. I looked like a woman caught mid-unraveling, someone who couldn't decide if she wanted to be touched or left the hell alone. And I hated that. Because Derek was good. He was thoughtful. He booked reservations and rubbed my shoulders and made love to me like he meant it. He didn't cheat. He didn't yell. He didn't belittle or lie. And yet, I still felt like I was starving. Starving for a question that went deeper than, how was your day? Starving for a moment that didn't lead to the bedroom. Starving for him to hold me just to hold me, not as a warm-up, not as a bridge, not as a transaction. It's not that I didn't love him. It's that I didn't feel met anymore. And it wasn't always like this. God, no. When we first got together, sex felt like speaking a shared language, effortless, electric, emotional. He used to talk to me while undressing me. Ask questions. Wait for answers. There was laughter. Curiosity. Time. Now it just felt like obligation wrapped in affection. And I knew, deep down, that this wasn't all on him. That I had walls up. That I'd stopped reaching too. That somewhere in the clutter of daily life, bills, work, texts, dishes, I stopped being honest with him about what I needed, probably because I wasn't sure myself. Still, I couldn't shake the thought I'd had back in the garage. Lillian hadn't touched me. She didn't even try. She just looked at me, really looked, and asked if I wanted something. Not in a demanding way. Not even seductive. Just curious. Open. It was a simple, terrifying question. And it meant more than all the back rubs and date nights and rushed goodnight kisses Derek had given me in the last 6 months. I curled tighter on the bathroom floor, guilt clawing at me, confusion wrapping around my ribs like a vice. I got off the bathroom floor eventually, rinsed my face, changed into pajamas. But I couldn't bring myself to go into the bedroom. Not when it still smelled like his cologne and the heat of a conversation we couldn't unsay. Around 3 a.m., I walked quietly into the living room. He was there on the couch, asleep on his side, blanket half pulled over his body, one foot sticking out like it always did. His mouth was slightly open, hand curled near his chest like a child. He looked peaceful. Soft. So different from the man who had leaned across the dinner table just hours before, confused and hurt, trying so hard to reach me. And I'd pushed him away. I sat on the edge of the couch slowly, careful not to wake him. Just watching him breathe. After a few moments, like he could feel me near, Derek stirred. His eyes opened, groggy. Hey. Hey, I whispered. We sat there in the dark, saying nothing. Eventually, he sat up. Rubbed his eyes. Can I ask something? I nodded. That day you helped Zoe's mom, what happened? I didn't flinch. I was past hiding. She asked if I wanted to kiss her. He blinked slowly, like the words took a minute to land. Did you? No, I said. But I thought about it. Silence. He didn't move. Didn't lash out. Didn't retreat. I didn't want her, I continued. I wanted to feel something I hadn't felt in a long time. Like someone was seeing me. Not assuming. Not just reaching. He exhaled. Long tired. I didn't know you felt that way, he said softly. I thought showing up was enough. I know, I whispered. I thought the same thing. Until it wasn't. He leaned back on the couch, head against the wall. So, what do we do now? I looked down at my hands, clenched in my lap. I don't know. I think maybe we try to stop touching until we can talk without fear. Without performance. I think maybe we make space. He nodded. Didn't argue. Didn't agree either. I'm not angry at you, I said. I'm just tired of needing something I can't name and pretending I don't. He reached out, slow and uncertain, and placed his hand over mine. Warm. Familiar. I'm not gonna fix it with a kiss, he said. I looked at him, and for the first time in weeks, months maybe, I felt my throat loosen. No, I said. Please don't. He pulled me gently into a hug. No heat. No pressure. Just arms around me. Steady. Present. I rested my forehead against his collarbone and closed my eyes. I didn't cry. Neither did he. It didn't feel like healing. It felt like honesty. And I think, for now, that's the closest we've come to loving each other right. You know, I used to think desire was just about sex. The heat, the thrill, the spark you're supposed to keep alive, like some birthday candle people brag about never blowing out. But it's not. Desire, real desire, is wanting to be known. To be asked hard questions. To be seen when you're quiet. To have someone trace the parts of you that aren't skin deep, the doubt, the fear, the parts you don't always like about yourself. I spent so long trying to want what he wanted. Trying to twist myself into someone easier to love, or at least easier to understand. I smiled during kisses that made me feel hollow. I performed intimacy like it was a script I used to know by heart. And all the while, I was disappearing, becoming a body that looked like me, sounded like me, but wasn't me anymore. The truth? Lillian didn't change anything. She just held up a mirror. One gentle, terrifying question, do you want to kiss me? And suddenly I saw how little I'd been asking myself what I needed. What I craved. What I was silently starving for. And no, I didn't kiss her. But I started talking. Started pulling the thread on all the ways I'd kept quiet. And Derek, he listened. At least, he's trying. We're taking space. Not as a threat, but as a boundary. A pause. An agreement that love without language is just two people orbiting each other in the dark, hoping one of them lights a match. I don't know what happens next. I'm not even sure I want answers yet. But I do know this, if you have to shrink to be held, it's not love. If you feel lonelier in someone's arms than you do alone, that's not intimacy. That's ache dressed in affection. Desire without understanding is just noise. And I'm finally learning to want more than noise.